Hello, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm talking about shallowing the golf club in the downswing and the best way to do it. I don't think there's a swing student out there who hasn't been told or think they should be able to shallow the golf swing in the downswing, which basically means taking it from a relatively steep angle towards the ground and making that a flatter angle. Although it's not the only way to swing a golf club with certainty, it's probably the most familiar way if you look at most of the top players. They will tend to take it up, or if you were talking about basically just following the club head path, it will tend to go up steeper than it then comes down. And part of this is called the shallowing of the golf club. Now, in the perfect world, this is going to happen absolutely naturally as the club follows the rotation of your body, your arms and your hands. But the word is follows, and unfortunately at times we are manipulating the golf club in such a way that it's actually counterproductive to what we're trying to do. So I thought I'd take some time today to first of all just simply explain what it is shallowing, how to do it, and then give you maybe a couple of drills and a couple of thoughts of how you should be doing it. The very first thing is basically to understand that the golf club, because of the way it's built, and I've talked about this before, it doesn't want to remain in this lie angle. It will actually always want to fall down. And if you understand that, you can see that whatever direction the club head goes, the grip goes in the opposite direction. Now, if that's the truth, then when I get to the top of my swing and I want the club head to go in that direction behind me in order to flatten the shaft plane, then the grip has got to move in the other direction away from me. So the question is, how do you get the club or the grip to move in that direction without it actually changing the complete plane and the complete action that you're making in the golf swing? Maybe the first thing is to understand that a lot of the things that maybe you've learned aren't the best ways of doing it. I've seen an awful lot of golfers out there, first of all, trying to pull the club down. When you pull the club down without turning your upper body, what you're actually doing is you're pulling the grip end more vertically, and that way the head is going to go in the wrong direction and the shaft is going to get steeper. You have to actually get it moving in that direction. But at the same time, there's an awful lot of people out there who are trying to kind of do this to get the trail elbow to go under. Now, obviously that's going to create its own problems. Although if you do it correctly, there will be a movement of the trail elbow down and towards the target or towards the ball to a certain extent as you start the downswing. So it's all about understanding that to flatten it, the grip end has got to move in this direction and the head end's got to move in this direction, and anything that you're doing which is causing the grip end to move in the opposite direction is obviously not going to work. So what is the correct way to do this? Well, obviously it would be better if that was happening by itself. And how easy it is to do is going to be greatly dependent on where you are at the top of your golf swing. If your golf swing is out here and you're wanting to flatten it, then it's going to be difficult to do that and get back onto the golf ball correctly. But if you are back behind yourself with your arms, that's going to be simpler. So the first thing to do really when you're making these swings is to make sure that as your trail arm bends, it's pulling your lead arm across your shoulders at the top of the backswing. So it should also look, if I get to the top of the swing here, let's see if I can get myself a bit more kind of online with this stick. As I kind of take it back, it's staying in front of the stick, and then as I pull it over my shoulders, you've got more of the feeling of this all being kind of a straight line. And that's basically the feeling that I've got. The club is kind of in an extension of my trail shoulder behind me. And therefore, obviously, I've got loads of room to move the grip end forward before I start kind of coming over the top of it. One of the things that I think a lot of people have always been scared of when they start the downswing is allowing the trail shoulder to come forward. But strangely enough, that's one of the things you have to do. If again you get me to the top of the swing and I allow the trail shoulder not to go over the top, but to move down on plane, then it's also pushing the club forward relative to the position that it was in at the end of the backswing. And again, it's pushing the grip end forward because that's the bit you're holding. And by getting that shoulder rotating on plane down the target line, coming forward as the lead shoulder goes back, you are actually applying the correct forces. And at the same time, you can't be stiffening your wrists at this point or starting to accelerate the club with your trail hug. So for a lot of you, it's going to be a kind of feeling of staying passive with the arms and hands at the top of the swing as the transition starts. And you can see that that is helped when your transition is led by your legs and not by your arms. The old thing in the book is don't start the downswing with your arms, but in order for your arms to stop making the downswing, your legs have got to get more active. If you are actively changing direction with your legs at the top of your swing, you'll be surprised how easy it is to get the club to kind of go up and then come back down behind you. And by doing this correctly, you should actually find that the golf club is actually wanting to do exactly that thing that you're trying to drill into it, this kind of shallowing. Whether this is the best way to swing a golf club, well, you can see a lot of players out there on a slightly steeper plane in the downswing hitting it better, and you'll see a lot of players getting it behind them. So I think it's an awful lot to do with your own personal swing and not going from one extreme into the other. But if you have had problems getting the club back behind you in the downswing, I hope this understanding of how the grip and the head work relative to one another will help you to shallow the plane rather than steepen the plane in the backswing, if that's what you're looking for in your golf swing. Altogether, it's about keeping it wide and deep in your backswing. It's then about starting with your lower body and getting your arms and hands to move forward and apply pressure in this direction away from your body, and then allowing the club to get that kind of feeling that it's falling back behind you, then accelerating through the ball and letting the club release on plane through the golf ball. Easy game, isn't it? No, not really. Hope this helps you. If it does, smash that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done already. Thank you to all of my patrons. If you'd like to become a patron, I shall leave a link below. And I'll see you all very shortly in the next one. Bye-bye.